Hello?
Hello. Hi, Josh.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys so very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Oh, thank you so much for giving us this interview.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm happy to oblige. I've discovered you guys when you put out your last album. I really loved the direction of what you guys were going for. So it made me even more excited to see that you guys were putting out a new album, which is going to be coming out in just a few weeks. And, of course, the one thing I noticed most about the new album is the more maturity it seems that you guys have written this time around, and not being nearly as spastic as some of the early material was.
Oh, yeah. So it shines through. This is something we have been telling to each other, dude, this record sounds so much more mature. But then hearing these comments coming from the outside is different. Because maybe we were just tripping, but it seems like, it's a shared vision now.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, was it something that was like a conscious effort to go in that direction, or were you just writing material for the new album and it just felt right to go in that direction?
We were just straight up writing new material, and the fact that it's more mature is probably due to the fact that we are more mature. So there was no brief at the beginning of the writing. We didn't sit around the table and say, let's do something more in this direction or something else. And then, to tell the truth and to be more precise, we just started gathering in a room, not really knowing what we would do. And none of us really brought a lot of pre-written material from home. So we just really sat together in a room and started throwing out ideas.
Maybe that was maybe the first time we were doing it
that way. Exactly. It's the first time we do this, because usually writing is much more used to be in the past more personal, and then we used to put together the pieces of the puzzle. At this time there is no puzzle, there is just one big vision.
And did you find that to be more challenging to write it that way, or did that feel more comfortable writing that way?
It felt totally more challenging because it's something that is not so ordinary for us. It was definitely a change of approach and way, and the sound is also different. So to be frank, it was really difficult at the beginning. We were staring at each other's eyes, and what do we do now?
What should we do now?
5 people staring at a blank page. But once we broke the ice, it really went smooth. The atmosphere was very intimate and productive. So
everything came pretty fast.
Fast also, yeah.
Along with that, was there a particular riff or a particular song where you realized that this was the right direction to go for the album?
I don't know.
That's hard to say. Do you remember which song was the first one we wrote?
I don't really remember. One of the first was Symphony of the Ego. With the riffing.
To be frank, that song, we like to think about it in retrospective as the missing ring between the new album and the old album. Symphony of the Ego is the first single that came out in the end, and chronologically speaking, it's also very coherent because it's really what links the new material to the old material. So there's still this. What did you say before? You said an adjective like spasticity. I don't remember. This freakness in that song that is maybe missing in the others. So I think when we started writing "Don't Stare at the Edge," we were like, "Oh yeah, this is probably the direction of the new album. This can be it. This can be it." So it's a lot simpler, a lot heavier in a way, but a lot more easy to listen in another. And we didn't have to prove that we can play thousands of freaky notes. We know that. So let's just go for something more challenging. And in our case, challenging was not to write stuff that is more difficult to play, but it's actually easier. Well, probably easier to listen. So that was the challenge. I will say Don't Stare at the Edge was the beginning of our new approach for this album.
Yeah, I would definitely say with both of those songs, and specifically Symphony for the Ego, I mean, that is a good gateway between both albums, because it does have a lot of that sound that was on Kidding, but it definitely shows the direction that you guys are going in. And again, you know, it's just like when you're writing such a style that you become synonymous with, and then when you start to change that style a bit, I can definitely see how it'd be a bit challenging, even if it is more simpler like you guys have gone, even though it is still quite challenging.
It is still more challenging, yeah, fine. Like, you know what's funny about this album is that it's super difficult to play, but it's much easier to listen. In a way, that's an achievement, because I hate when stuff sounds difficult and they're easy. Because it's like the band is trying to demonstrate something, and I don't really like that patent approach. But everybody wants to feel challenged, so as a musician, yeah, we had to find somehow a way to make our life difficult. Get out of our comfort zone. We didn't want to become our own shadow. Try to write a new Kidding. That would have been really disaster, I think.
Especially when your heart's not into it either. I mean, if you feel like that you wrote an album that really breaks you through and you have to keep writing that album even if you don't want to, that's really heartbreaking if you had to do that.
Yeah, of course. And luckily nobody obliges us to do that. Metal Blade is always very, very welcoming with the material that is coming from the heart of the band. And then it was completely up to us to decide the direction to take. And we didn't even decide the direction to take, we just took it because it felt right. Heart, I think, here being a key word, because I believe this record is much more emotional than the previous material. Kidding, in particular, was very cerebral. How do you say that? Cerebral, like, yeah, coming from the brain, and this is more coming from the guts. I think it's also hitting more the guts of the listeners, but no, it's not my responsibility to say that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's a quite accurate way to look at it, because Kidding is where you have to think about more of it as a listener, because there's so many different aspects that you can capture in just one listen of the song, let alone repeated listens, whereas this one, you definitely can feel more of that emotion because there's a lot less chaos that's going on, even though there is still some chaos going on, and it is a little more digestible, so you can really get attached to it more as an outside listener.
Yeah, wow, I'm super glad to hear that. So it worked out. It really shines through. Really get it. Okay.
Oh yeah, very much so. So I would also imagine with it being a little more scaled back on this album that it would be a little more easier to be able to play these songs live.
We're rehearsing a lot these days, in particular, and some songs are just way harder than they look.
They look pretty easy to listen and also to record. Then when you go rehearsing is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, there is something that's missing, because the Kidding was there was some like hard part in that, but it was a lot mechanical. So we gave for granted that if every musician by itself came completely, prepared and ready, then you just put the five together and mathematically it will work.
It works. Yeah.
But this album needs much more interplay. So it doesn't mean that if you play well, the song will come out good. There's a lot of space for being sloppy as a band, not as an individual. So
in terms of sound, in terms of interpretation,
timing,
yeah, it's a bit more difficult to bring it live.
There's also a lot more singing for me and you, Rob.
Yeah, a lot of parts, a lot of singing, backing
vocals, and yeah. I wish I had the second brain to play guitar and sing at the same time. But I don't. I had to split the CPU between these two tasks. Not really easy. Changing sounds with the feet is also very... We'll get rid of that maybe sometimes. We were thinking about doing this MIDI control sound change, but I don't know. It scares me to death what it does. What if it doesn't work? I don't trust machines. Yeah.
Too dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, that's always that dangerous territory with, like, having backing tracks or using a laptop on stage or going the MIDI approach as well, because there is always a chance of technical failure as opposed to being able to play those instruments live.
scares me to death.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to minimize that risk. Of course, we have some stuff in the backing tracks. Those things that you're just not supposed to play live. So in the past album we had a trumpet, so the trumpet was in the sequence. And this one we will have percussions or sound effects. So there's not really faking, but there is some stuff that is adding to the show. Luckily, it's really kept to the minimum, so that if something shuts down and the computer decides to die or whatever,
we can go on.
Yeah. I think pretty much nobody will notice the difference. It's just
just some little details that can bring a little more to the show, but you can play also without.
Yeah. We work definitely much more as a rock band at this on this record. Yeah. So both in the writing and in the recording, and this thing is coming through now in the rehearsal room. Everything sounds much more live, cohesive, and solid. So I think the live shows will be even more powerful and immersive. Nobody will really feel the lacking of some backing tracks, even if
at all.
No.
Oh, yes. And in comparison to that, I mean, with the album sounding different than what you have done in the past, has it been much of a challenge going from one song into the next when you're writing a set list?
Actually, no, because our previous approach was more puzzly, as I mentioned before. So we had a lot of ideas that were coming from the different members. Then ideas, we're talking riffs, melodies, sequences of notes, chords, progressions. And you just empty this big bucket on the table and you try to see what can fit what. So that's why we were using this method of the post-its. We had a wall where we were basically putting there the songs into columns and then moving post-it from one song to the other, and it's a bit like constructing a Frankenstein monster, a creature. So we used to do that, and coming up with a song in the end was really hard because you have a lot of material and you're trying to make it fit here and there. In this case, it was a lot more easier because since we wrote it like in the old times where computers were not there and we were just in a room, all you can do is play, and we play songs until they were pretty much complete. We didn't even arrange them. Mm-hmm. Many songs were just born like sequence of chords and vocal melody, and that's it. We have a small electric drum set in the studio, so it was not even arranged drum-wise. We were just constructing the bone of a song, and once it was working like that, and seemed solid to us, it mattered a lot, because if a song sounds good to you at such early stage, without makeup, without dressing, without arrangement, or without fancy sound, then it means it may turn into something good. At the point, we will move to another song, and in the next phases, we will start adding the layers of arrangements. Arrangement, sound design, whatever can help to make your song more beautiful. So, yeah, this was the method.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that it is done in such a great way like that, too. And it definitely sounds like all of you guys were all on board on taking this approach. And I think it definitely made for a fantastic final product in the end.
Wow. Thank you. Have you listened to the whole thing?
Yes. I just took a trip last week when I received the promo, so I've only been able to listen to it since Mondays, but I've gotten about 4 or 5 spins out of it so far, and I just, like you were talking about before, I hear so much more emotion this time around with all the crazy circus that is still going on, and it's a little more easier to digest, especially if someone is about to discover you guys and then go into the back catalog of what you've done. I think this is definitely that kind of album that can reach those people in and make them appreciate what you guys have done in the past and what you're going to be doing in the future.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you a lot. Yeah. I hope your prediction is going to really happen. Yeah. Cool.
So, in speaking of that, what has the reception been so far for Symphony of the Ego?
Oh, sorry, the communication went away just a second. Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, sure thing. What has the reception been so far for the first single, Symphony of the Ego? From the fans.
From the audience, you mean?
Yeah.
I think it was quite cool, quite good. I mean, we weren't expecting to have so many views on Facebook and YouTube. Everyone seems that accepted this change of direction, or I mean, this new way to move for us. I have to say, I wasn't expected to have so many appreciation.
I was expecting much more.
Yeah, hater, lots of hater. But they were like, maybe someone said, I don't know, I don't really like the sound, but I think the song is quite cool.
You mean like sound being production?
Production, yeah, like the production. I mean, but
really few.
Not
Most people
so
were really happy and glad to hear something still new.
And they really wanted to show how good it was for them. So it's good.
Yeah, a lot of shares.
Yeah, and a lot of comments.
Yeah, and again, just so Symphony of the Ego was a great choice to be able to do that, because it does have on the album the closest to what you guys have done in the past, but still shows off what you guys are currently doing. So it's a little more easier to digest when people actually go and pick up the album on October 21st.
Yeah, 100% right. We especially picked that song for using it as this transitional element.
Yeah, and it was definitely the right way to go about it. And I imagine with more singles and videos coming out as well, you'll be able to expand just a little bit more because of that.
Yeah. But from the next single, we're just jumping right in the album, in the mood of the album. Yeah. We will see the hate coming up there. There's no metal anymore. Where's your balls? I don't know. No, they can't say that. I personally believe it's a very honest album.
And that's all I would ever expect from a band, is to not just try to rehash what made them known for in the first place, but actually go out and write the music that is honest and the music that they want to make. At least I know, as long as I've been promoting bands in these interviews and with my radio show, the albums that always stick with me the most are the ones that really come truest to the heart, and I definitely feel it with this new album.
Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Wow. It's good that you felt it.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
dying all the time. It's definitely true. I remember we met right in the middle of the writing process. We met Matthias Eklund from Free Kitchen.
Oh, yes.
And he had been playing a guest solo on The King is Fatinol, our second album.
On Jade's Place.
So we became pretty much friends, and we saw him on a show in Italy, and it was like, yeah, I'm really curious, you guys, what is the new material? What does it sound like? And I said, yeah, it's gonna sound a bit different because of this and that, all the reasons that we mentioned in this interview. And he said, I'm really glad to hear that, because I couldn't take the fact that you guys will become your own shadows, because once you start that process, there's no way back. And trying to repeat what you've done in the past will sound dishonest, will sound like an ugly caricature of what you've done. So I perfectly agree with this comment. I really thought we should be true and stay true to what we feel, and in the meanwhile we got a bit more mature, and things in your life change and your music respond to it. So if there's some more drama in the song, it's because drama is leaked from the life. I think we didn't try to hide anything.
And I think also that when you work very close to each other in the writing process, like playing and jamming together, you feel also more what you're living.
Yeah.
More than writing something on the computer, or I don't know, using an idea you wrote like a month ago.
Of course, and also
it's a real picture of the moment.
It's a real picture of the moment, and the band acts as a force, not as a symbol of singles. That was really incredible. I remember on the past albums, we were all the time trying to figure out whether an idea coming from someone would fit the album, but because they were all coming from the outside. from the five of us split. But all this time being in the same room all the time, feeling the same thing, this problem was never there, because whoever came up with something that was already fitting. We were thinking as one mind, one force. Even guitar riffs were coming straight out the mouth of Paolo, the vocalist. It was like singing them. I remember he was singing this "Don't Stare at the Edge" riff, and it was like dun 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 dun, and then the drummer said, "Hey, do you know you're singing in 7/8?" What? So it started like that. Everybody really could give precious contribute.
Oh, and that just makes me so happy to hear that too, because you hear it so much about how there are some bands out there that really do not get along, where they don't even write music together, and the only times that they really even see each other is when they're on stage together. But it sounds like you guys have definitely gotten it right, and you're all on the same page when it comes in and out of the band, and being able to have the right mindsets between all of you to be able to write such great music.
Thank you very much. That's a big compliment. I have to say we fight a lot. We fight a lot, but it's because we're trying to stick together as much as we can since long years. And this band is basically a family. I don't know whether it will work out changing even one of the components. This is not in our plans. This is not even, we don't even think about it. And working together is important as that, because you can definitely feel on the record, as you pointed out, you can hear on the record if the members worked separately. I can definitely hear if a song was a sequence of guitar riffs and then a vocalist stuck a vocal line on the top of it. Like it's in your face. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no glue. So we really want to take care of that, and avoid that. We love each other as much as we hate each other. I don't know how much of this thing can be Italian, but I don't know if you know that most of the a good number of the most powerful companies in Italy are family company. They're family run, and this is amazing when you think about Lavazza. You know, it's probably the biggest coffee company in the world. And it's a family company. There must be a reason why some things work so well. I don't know. Just kidding here. We're not thinking about ourselves as a company. It's the family. It's the family. Oh, yeah. It's important to stay united.
Oh yeah, I mean, that is such an important thing too. I mean, it's impossible to be in a band and not have some kind of fights that are going on, but it really shows a lot to have those fights and not let those get in the way and break up the band, or having to lose any members or anything bad happening to the band, and being able to still write a quality product and want to continue working together.
Yeah, I agree on that. Drama also keeps you together if you fight sometimes. It's good glue. We need drama. I think bands that split because of boredom most of the times. Then sometimes they really fight hard and they cannot see each other anymore, and they're probably barely talking to each other for a few years. But I believe in most cases bands split because of boredom, and we're far from there.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and even though there is some simpler moments on the album, it definitely just sounds very fresh and inspired. And I think once people actually get the chance to check out the album on October 21st through Metal Blade, they'll definitely see the trials and tribulations that have been going on, but they'll also feel that emotion and an inspiration that you guys have brought this time around.
Yeah, I really hope so. I'm really looking forward to have a taste of the have a sample of the reaction of the people.
Oh yes.
Yeah. When you do music, you're just one part of the audience. So yeah. I'll say we do this thing for ourselves and for others, and it's so important to see what they feel, even if they hate it. I still think there's a lot to learn from everybody's comment.
Yeah, and that's a great way to think of it as well, because when you only receive positive feedback, you never know how to learn.
Like spoiled brats.
Exactly.
I recently saw a movie, and I don't remember the name of it. There's this very rich lady, and she is spoiled by everybody because she's so filthy rich that everybody wants a piece of her money, and everybody's licking her ass. So she's a very sensitive person, and she's in love with music, but she's a terrible singer. And she sings all the time, and everybody around her are trying to congratulate. And she even goes to theaters and concerts, and her husband is paying people to cheer up and make huge applauses and stuff. And of course, this woman never learns because everybody is telling her, "You're great." Don't even remember the name of the film because I'm so bad with datas. I never remember any name, number, or anything.
Oh yeah, that happens to me too sometimes when I kind of get put on the spot on something. It's like it's in the back of my mind, but once I get asked or when I try really hard to think of what a title is, I'll completely blank out and forget what it is.
You know what happens to me the most? Even on things that I know, if somebody comes to me straight up and say, "Play me a song with your guitar," I'll be frozen. Like, I have no idea what the fuck to play. Really.
Not that question,
just
please.
because they asked. Just because they asked. Nobody is looking at me. I can probably just go on for hours. But play a song or tell me a movie you liked, or I don't know. What have you done lately that is interesting? I'll be totally frozen. It's too bad. You're starting to think about something like, oh, what should I play? I should play something that pleases him or her. What does she like? Do I know the songs? I don't know. And then, I think Ralph and me were the worst guitar jukebox ever. We hardly know any riff that is not less. No. Ralph knows a lot. But me, I can't play anything.
But I'm not good with my memory, so no. I have pretty much the same problem. I have to...
That's why we do guitar sheets. Exactly. We do guitar sheets and we sell them, but we also do it for ourselves because we tend to forget pretty much everything.
So we write down everything.
Have you heard of the company Sheet Happens? It's Tim and Luke from Protest here running it.
Oh yes.
And it's an editory and they do guitar sheets. It's called Sheet Happens.
It's a publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Oh, very much so. So, with you guys wrapping things up a little bit, what are your guys' plans after the album drops?
Plans?
Well, to play live as much as we can.
We had a meeting yesterday with our Italian agent, and we will start touring Italy. We put down 20 gigs
from November to
January,
to February.
Some are splitting, like some are going into February, and then we will see what's going on with European tours, hopefully American tours. Like so many people frustrated are writing on the internet, come to America. It's not really up to us. We would love to come to America.
Yeah,
we'll see. Then we're going to Japan, and then we'll see what that's for granted. Like in December, it's already planned and bookable, and then we'll see where this brings us. Is our plans.
Oh, awesome. Well, I hope at some point you guys are able to make it to North America. I know I would absolutely love to be able to see you guys once you guys get right on to the right tour package that makes sense to be able to make it over here. But until then, there is all of the great albums that you guys have put out so far, and of course, A Means to No End coming out October 21st through Metal Blade, which I think new fans of the band and those who have been around since even the first album will really appreciate what you guys are going for this time around.
Great to hear. Thank you, man, very much.
Well, awesome. Well, once again, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. Being a fan of you guys, it's an honor to be able to help promote you guys. And before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I haven't brought up yet?
Yeah, you see, you asked me something, and I'm completely like, speechless. So, I don't know. How does your name come up, like That Drummer Guy?
Oh yes, That Drummer Guy or Josh Runquist.
It was a Drummer magazine.
Oh, sorry?
We really thought it was a Drummer magazine.
Yeah. It's for my radio show and my website. The name came from when I was playing in cover bands, and the people out in the crowd didn't learn my name, so they started calling me That Drummer Guy in that cover band. So
Amazing. It must have felt fantastic to be called that way.
yeah, instead of being called
so-
Josh, it was that drummer guy.
No, it's a super cool name. And yeah, I checked out also the other podcasts, and I go through them. Like, I'll definitely listen to more. Like, yeah,
Oh, awesome.
sounds like a very cool program.
Oh, yeah, I definitely strive to do that. It's a 2-hour weekly show, and I just try to showcase as many different styles of rock and metal as I can, always having at least 2 or 3 interviews to be able to promote new music as well, and just really promoting the stuff that I feel needs to be heard, instead of just the stuff that's top 40 radio.
Yeah. That's really cool. I see that you interviewed Mikey Goodman for Sikt.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good friend. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I actually, he played about 15 minutes away from me, and I actually drove him to the laundromat so he could do his laundry on tour, and then we just did the interview while he was waiting for his clothes to dry.
Amazing. Yeah, the guy's a surprise. You know, me and him, we worked together on a project, like a short film. It's an animation. So I've done the animation, and he gave the voice to the character. So he wrote the poem and gave the voice to it. It's still unpublished because we're doing film festival right now, but I will send it over to you because it's really Mikey Goodman of Sikt giving the voice to animated character. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. I would absolutely love to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, once again, thank you for taking the time to do this. I should have this interview up within the next hour or two on YouTube. And then probably the week of October 24th, I'll be having it on my radio show with a couple tracks off the album.
Amazing. Can you reach us out with a mail when that happens? But we can also check. We can also, yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I'll send the link through Skype as soon as I get it up on YouTube, and then I'll of course be sending that to Metal Blade as well. And then I'll hit you guys again once it's most likely going to be the week of October 24th to be able to promote the album being out and play a couple tracks off the album as well.
Amazing.
Cool.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, material is yours. Do what you please. So thank you very much for interviewing us. It was amazing to spend some time with you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Oh, likewise. And I hope you have a great rest of the night.
Thank you.
Have a nice night. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.